Hi guys, so if you've already watched the introduction, you have an idea of what green screen is, and now we're going to go over a few different techniques and ways of using it. Whether you're using it or not, it's a great exercise, and it is extremely helpful when masking out and cutting out things for compositing and layering things out. So essentially when you have a green screen movie, you basically have stuff that there's a green background and you can actually just cut something out. So let's just do a quick simple one and then we'll move a little bit forward and see what we can do with some combining layers and effects. So let's say we have, let's just take a video and I'm just going to pull it in and let's make a composition of it. So we've got this video here where we have a girl in a suit and she's being filmed in front of a green screen, and this is a good situation because if you look, let's fit this, let's go to full, get a little more detail. So what we see here is that there's a little bit of discoloration or wrinkle, but there's not very much. It's very consistent. There's there's a little shadow here, but not very much. The quality of the video is a little bit lower, but that's all right for what we're doing. So let's fit you back in. So how would I key this out? So we can see that it's keyed out. Let's make a layers, a solid. So I'm going to make a solid. And let's make it something that's different from this. Let's make it like a dark red. And I'm just going to drag that right underneath her. So with her layer selected, I'm going to go into my effects and presets. And I'm going to type in key for keying. And we see there's a whole bunch of different things in here. So if I go in, the one to remember is your KeyLight 1.2. So when I drag this in, nothing happens except we have the effect. Now the effect is keying out, it hasn't really been set yet, so we have to set it. What do we want to key out? Sometimes you'll have a blue screen, sometimes you'll have a green screen, sometimes you'll have a reflective sort of or strangely colored thing in the background that you can key out. The fundamental thing to remember is it doesn't have to be green. We use green simply because this is not a typical, I find this green in nature color. And it's rare that anybody would have this color of green in their clothing, their hair, or whatever. So as long as it's a contrasting color that has little to no shadows or highlights in the background and is not being worn, or you don't have something super reflective that's picking it up, then you should be good. But the more solid and constant the background, the easier it is. So with my KeyLight, I'm going to click my little dropper and select the green color. And we see that when I do that, immediately it drops it out and we can see that red background. There's a little halo that we see around her, but we'll fix that in a second. But that's basically it. And the cool thing is that I can then just drop in a background. Let's pull in another, go back to project. I'm going to pull in a video. And let's put that video behind her. And the video is bigger, so I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Let's hold down Shift to constrain it. Right about there. That looks pretty good. That is actually pretty good. Now there's a little bit of haloing if we go close to it. And let me show you what's going on. So I'm going to go back. Let me select her layer. Let's go back to effects. And this is the final result, but let's see what would happen when we choose screen matte. So screen matte is basically the mask. So what's happening is where it's black is where it is being totally masked out. Where it's pure white is where it's being solid and we can't see through the background. So when you have grayscale like this, it means we're getting some of it. So if I go to my final result and I look really close, you'll see that there's that banding that's there. It's not 100% masked out. So the way we get rid of this is we go back to screen matte. I'm on the layer, her layer. And we want to adjust the levels of this to make it so that this is as pure of a white as we can get, maybe a little feathering. I like that, but we want this to be a pure black. So we can do that a few ways. Let's go to screen matte here. So I have clip black, clip white. As I increase the clip black, you see it really pulls that out. So we don't have that. So if I actually go back now to final result, that area is gone. But we could see that she is a little bit transparent. I don't mind it so much for the tips of the hair because that makes her blend better. But we can see that it is kind of going through her face because she's not 100% masked. So we're going to go back to screen matte and we can see all these grays that are here. We want to get rid of those. So let's go to the white. And as I pull that down, we could see we're starting to get that a lot better. And I might want to leave a little bit because I want her hair to actually be a little bit transparent. Okay. So that's actually, there's a little bit right there. I can also shrink it, look, in and out as needed. Let's undo that. I can adjust the gain as well as the balance between the two. And how much you need to do it is really going to depend on what your source footage is that you're trying to mask out and what the background is and what's going to look nice. There's an advanced spill suppressor. So let's try this and pull that on her as well. Let's go back to final result. That is already looking way, way better. Look at that. So this guy, let's see. You could see it's adjusting just a little bit around the edge. Let's boost you up to ultra. And then let's see. Okay, we're good. I think that's working pretty well. And that's pretty clean. That actually looks pretty clean. So we do have like little things that we can adjust, like softening edges and stuff. And like I said, most of this is really going to depend on what it is that you're dealing with. If we do that shrink and grow, we see we could pull it in or pull it out. But it's doing a really good job just as it is. So if I were to pull it in, it would be really, really subtle just to soften the edge out just a little bit. And now we have a really, really nice, clean um, space bar. A really clean key out. So that is one of the quick, easy ways of doing it and getting, starting to get your masking in there. And you can see that if you have something that's pretty clean, it works really well. So in the next videos, we're going to look at suppose it's not as clean and we need to do some stuff to actually make that work.